Hi everyone, it's Rena. So this video is if you have your sun in Pisces and your moon in Leo. I just did the opposite one with the sun in Leo and the moon in Pisces. And I like doing these types of videos because it is a little bit of a challenge to me to try to show how, the opposite versions of it are going to be different. And in this case, when the sun, which is at the helm of our influences in astrology, is in Pisces, the emotions are heightened in a personal way. So you have the passion from Leo in the position of the moon sign, and that will definitely flavor your emotional self-expression. You will tend to be very dramatic, but there's almost like this, it's not that it's detached, but it isn't necessarily personal to you. It's like the person who is emoting in a way that they think that they are supposed to do because they've read, a novel that like a Harlequin romance. And so like you can be super romantic, but over the top emotionally, expressing feelings, but it's not necessarily the same as a water sign tuning in at a very deep personal level for the individual and what that represents. If that makes any sense. It's easy to kind of become very dramatic, but when you're tuning into yourself or when you're tuning into someone else, you're really getting to the heart of your feelings or their feelings. And it's not about bluster. It's not about show. And Leo is all about show. I'm not suggesting that somebody with this combination is emotionally artificial or anything like that. I just think that it's easy to exaggerate the emotions with this combination. Now, the sun being in a water sign will balance that out a little bit and will make you seem more sincere or more tuned in. But another thing to keep in mind is that Pisces is the chameleon, and this is your sun position. So it's very possible that your Leo part really takes over because Leo is a much more dominating influence than Pisces. Pisces is a mutable water sign. And even water is mutable in and of itself. So that can kind of give this room for the Leo moon to become front and center. So talking about the goals of a Pisces individual, I think it can be boiled down to caring for others and I was going to say holding space, which I always think is that kind of like a hippy-dippy word, but really there is this sense of it being true for Pisces because Pisces is an empath, first and foremost. You might meet some Pisces people that are much more, kind of like crabby or I don't know. They just don't seem like they are very caring in an outward way, but they still are likely to have those characteristics inside. With this combination with Leo, it can make you much more ballsy. It can make you much less of a, I was going to say of a snowflake. I don't mean it in in an insulting way. I just mean somebody that is so sensitive that it's hard for them to handle much of anything. And it's not that I think of Pisces in that way at all. It's because sometimes people, emerge that way because of what they have dealt with. And I feel like with the sign of Pisces, when it's in a prominent position, like the sun, which is probably the most prominent, we could argue, that it's going to give a person the likelihood of having come from a background of trauma in some way. Not necessarily abuse in an overt way, but in some cases it can be more of neglect and things of that nature, which are still traumas. So whatever it might have been, the Pisces person has things in their past that they probably had to live through. And with the moon in Leo, it makes a person much more emotionally resilient and confident. And Pisces is, I don't think any Pisces person would deny that they tend to not be confident. There can be a lot of second guessing yourself, putting other people's needs first, but also their opinions first, and maybe being way too influenced by what other people think about a particular situation. And because of that, it can lead to you having a sense of self-doubt that you carry around with you, and that makes you vulnerable to relationships with people who come across as being all-knowing or very powerful, because then it makes you feel protected. In this scenario, you may not resonate with what I just said because you're like, I don't need somebody to protect me. I feel very strong inside. You think about in the tarot, the Strength card is connected to Leo. And that's because of that confidence, that sense of, it's not just, physical strength. It's about that emotional strength of believing that you can do things, that that sense of learned helplessness can follow Pisces in life, where, and I think that can be post-traumatic stress disorder of coming from a chaotic environment and feeling like you always have to put out these fires, and it can take its toll after a while. And even if there's like more peaceful surroundings when you're an adult, it's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. So anyway, I think that this makes you more emotionally stable because Leo is a fixed sign, and it makes you very warm. It'll make you generous. Not all Pisces people are generous. I'm talking about financially. Sometimes Pisces people can be very, like, I was going to say cheap. I didn't want to be too insulting, but and I think it could be, again, if you come from a past where if you grew up without a lot of material resources, that makes total sense. But also, I think that all water signs have that retentive quality where they are conserving their resources in some way, and that can lead to being very good at saving money. Some Pisces people may be quite foolish with money, but that would depend on other influences in the chart. And with this combination, there may be a tendency to spend money when you are in love. And you have to avoid being taken advantage of. Again, referencing the tarot, the Page of Cups, which is associated with Pisces, can be that naive individual, gullible, believing what they are told. And with Pisces, the way to your wallet is a sob story. So that can be something that you really sincerely want to be of help. And this is something that I always say to Pisces people with a prominent Pisces. That's a tongue twister almost. Care enough about yourself the way you care for other people. I'm not saying that you should even care more. I'm just saying at least care the same amount. Don't sacrifice yourself for the sake of someone else, because we need you. We need people like Pisces who are caring in this world. And if you sacrifice yourself, then it's totally shot. So keep that. Anytime that you're doing something, if it's going to deplete you, like drain you, and that could be even financial drain, then it's something that is not really that good of a thing, because it's still leading to somebody being deprived of something. So anyway, let me talk about what kind of relationships you can have. Like I said a few minutes ago, if you are the kind of person who feels that desire to be protected, I think that there's not going to be that many that have this combination that would feel this way. I'm never going to say never, but most of you will be very protective of others. That is the Leo way. So in that case, you have to watch out for choosing people who have a lot of problems, and you want to save them from themselves. You have this hero complex that you think that you can make them get off of heroin, make them not be totally mentally imbalanced or something like that. And it's a noble thought, but it might not pan out in real life. So you have to remember what relationships are for. They're not, the grounds for getting involved with someone so you can fix them. And that might be something that you feel called upon to do. Obviously, there are going to be individual situations that might be, maybe if you fell in love with a heroin addict, you could be a good influence on their life. And maybe they could quit because of your love and caring. But the thing is, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because once you go into a situation with these kinds of attitudes, and I'm online so much, and I read the kind of comments that people have, and a lot of people have this kind of savior complex about everything, not just a romantic relationship. But it's one thing if you believe in a certain charity or something like that, but if you're in a relationship with somebody and you have this constant exposure to this other person, this can affect you adversely because you're dealing with somebody else's problems and it bogs you down. It can very easily get into the codependent phase where you are so consumed with somebody else's problems that you can't live your own life. And you have to ask yourself, what is the point of all of that? And of course, we can say there is no point, that it's pointless. Nothing is pointless. There's always something to be gained and to be learned from any situation. But what I'm really trying to impress upon you is that you deserve to have the best in life. And you deserve a partner who is an equal, who is going to give you some support as well, that it's not a one-way street. So I just want to say that in case somebody needs to hear that. And I feel that you are one of the best in loving, because you have the ability to really be caring, but also to live life not just, I feel like this combination is really good at living life as a work of art and not treating it as this mundane thing. The average Pisces person is not necessarily that practical. You rule the house of the spiritual dimensions and that sort of thing. The opposite house and opposite sign of Virgo is more about that, daily routine, the service that you provide to others. It's all these practical things. You're more of the dreamer of the zodiac. So Leo has that in common. And it's funny that Pisces and Leo are in conjunct signs to one another, which means they're 150 degrees apart. And this is supposed to be a sign that they are wildly incompatible, that they have nothing in common, which is not true. I don't think these kinds of characterizations are ever 100% accurate, because Pisces and Leo share a love of the extraordinary, and a lot of it, and that's why they also share a love of creativity, because creativity is taking real life, being inspired by real life, and making it something magical. That to me is the ultimate meaning of art and other creative forms. And so you can give your gift of having this imaginative spirit to other people, and that can be very helpful. As far as professions, you can be really, I think you can be a wonderful early childhood educator, because you're a big kid at heart and you love children, and they may love you. They may gravitate towards you, having the moon in Leo. Playfulness, spontaneity, and then with the sun in Pisces, you can tune into them very well, but you can really stoke their imagination. In the early years, one of the reasons, if you go to a preschool or a kindergarten, that they have a little section for playing house, or whatever, is because young children learn through imaginative play. And so it always helps to have teachers who are coming from that point of view, who can stoke that within children and help them to become more imaginative. Because nowadays we're seeing an encroachment of more complex learning being forced on younger children instead of the creative types of learning, which is so important. We're not just left brain people. We have to have that creative side as well. So other things, obviously any kind of an artist you would excel at. If you are an energy healer, which Pisces can be, you may have a charisma that attracts a following because you are very warm and people trust you. I can't emphasize how much emotional warmth is a valuable asset to have, as opposed to being kind of standoffish and things like that. You may be a parent, you may be somebody who wants to just be a stay-at-home parent. I shouldn't say just, who wants to be a stay-at-home parent, and that is what you choose to do for your quote-unquote career. And that is something that you feel very passionate about. So anyway, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.